What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy Levelhead back with another Live and Level Gamers podcast, episode 67. Did Nintendo just flip the script or the switch? Anyway, it sounded better saying script. Anyway, we got a nice group of people here, the normals, and we have one guest, but I'm going to start with the normals with Mr. Prime himself. Go ahead.
What's going on, y'all?
Okay. New York, New York.
The Jets suck right about now, bro.
Here you go. Here you go.
Oh, man. What's going on, people? Jedi Knight.
All right, go ahead, Captain America.
Hey, it's K-Bomb 20, man, and I'm ready for some laughs. I'm gonna have a good time today.
All right, and we got a guest, man, that we be talking back and forth on Twitter. He been asking me to come on for a while, and I've been kind of holding him off. But I was like, let me go ahead and let this dude get on with us, man. Check him out, see how he is, and how vibe with us, and get his thoughts on gaming. So go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Hey, everybody, it's Jason. My web alias, is Heretic PB, but I've been around. I've been playing games. I've had a site for a while, since actually 2005, just on and off.
Go ahead and name the site. What is it?
It is gamingcentrum.com.
Okay. All right. So we got a new guest on the show, so we want to welcome him in, man. So y'all let him know in the comments, man, how you feel about him, and what I'm saying, his points, because we all fair on here. So anything you say is gonna be criticized and scrutinized. Just know that. But anyway.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, let's get it in, man. Y'all ready?
Come on, man.
Yeah.
All right. So you know how we do. We gonna talk about what we've been gaming on, and since we got a guest, Jason, we gonna start with you, man. What you been gaming on this week, bro?
Paper Mario Color Splash, and dipping into my massive game library that I need to catch up on. The Last of Us Remastered.
Okay. Yeah, we've been playing that, but how's that Color Splash? I've been hearing a whole bunch of complaints about it.
It's a good game. The battle card system's kind of clunky, but other than that, it's really cool.
Now, how did you feel compared to the old Paper Mario's, like the 1,000-something door or something like that? I can't remember how it's called. I think it's
1,000-year door.
Yeah, 1,000-year door. How the RPG elements there compared to the change in the I guess the Paper Mario Color Splash and the Sticker Star. Like, are you one of the ones that feel like Nintendo has tampered with it too much, or are you fine with it?
Well, it definitely is different. I'm okay with it. But the other games had a little more gameplay to it. This is kind of just like you're messing with cards and you throw them, and it's kind of repetitive.
Okay. Yeah, you kind of sound like what they be saying. All right, go ahead. Finish what you're saying.
Yeah, but as for like the graphics and the comedy and everything else, that's fine. It's just the gameplay.
Okay. So the character of the game is still there. It's just the gameplay itself is what's changed.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. That's what's up. All right, I'm bringing this dude, New York. Now you're overseas, but we ain't got to talk about your Jets, man. But what you been gaming on?
Yeah, that'll be a good look. It'll completely ruin the podcast, believe me. But I've actually been gaming on Battlefield 1 for about 10 minutes until I popped in Madden 17. And I got to give K-Bomb credit. Madden 17 is pretty legit. It is pretty legit.
Well, what a clap said. What a clap said.
I'm sorry, I'm not on that screen.
Now, you just picked this up like yesterday, right?
I picked it up 24 hours ago, the PlayStation 4, and I've actually been, hooked it up. I put everything in. One thing I must say, I missed the time when you can buy a game, put it in your system, and play it. The Battlefield 1, it only took about 20 minutes to, download the information to the PS4. It took an hour for Madden.
Yeah.
And
I
man,
left came back before Madden was done.
yeah, like when I had the Wii U and the Wii, you didn't have to do that. So my last system was the 360 outside of like a Nintendo product, and I'm not used to that. I put the disc in, and I'm like, what? I knew this occurred, but I never had personally experienced it. To sit down for an hour and have to wait for a download was completely asinine, in my opinion. But either way, that's what I've been gaming on.
Okay. Go ahead, K-Bun. What you been gaming on, man?
Well, I've been gaming on mostly this 2K17. I've been at the park giving some noobs some work. I'm doing that mostly. Got a little Madden in myself. I don't know. I'm not digging MUT as much as I did last year, so I haven't been playing as much. And I'm about to get some more games online under my belt. But I've been playing that, and I've been trying to play Overwatch, playing what's that, the season. But man, it's hard, man, when I'm playing solo by myself and I don't got no team. I'm out here getting work because I got some retards that want to go 3 tanks. It's just it's really hard playing that game by yourself. But that's basically what I've been playing on, mostly NBA 2K.
Okay. D2K?
I've been messing around with this Toy Soldiers war chest again. Trying to go back and do some things I didn't do before. I'm trying to max out Dragon Ball Xenoverse until the new one comes out later on this month. And that's pretty much it. Haven't really had time to game that much lately.
Okay. Well, as far as me, man, I'm still on that Gears of War 4. Like I said, I'm enjoying it. I think I'm a little bit over halfway through. I probably only got a few more hours before I'm beating it. But I'm enjoying it, man. It's pretty good. I haven't played Madden since Jedi Knight got. I got to at least check him out, see how good he is, because K-Bum, he think he the best, and he kind of is, but still, I hold my own. I got one score on him last time I played him. Don't go watch that video. Man, it was bad. But anyway, I've been playing, like I said, Gears of War 4. And basically, dude, I've been just doing a whole bunch of digging on this NVIDIA chip. And we're going to get into that. That's why I wanted to make sure Jedi was here, because I want to talk about that, because I found out that it is Pascal. It's not, what is it, Maxwell? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's actually Pascal. I think that's how you say it. But anyway, so we're going to talk about, of course, we're going to talk about the Switch. Has Nintendo flipped the switch on everybody in the gaming industry. We're going to speculate, since the AMD third win was not the Switch or Nintendo's system, what could it actually be? Because there's still a third win for AMD out there that we don't know what system this is. And they said it's a gaming platform or gaming system. So we're going to talk about that. We got to talk about Red Dead Redemption 2. And what else? What else was there to talk about?
What about that Logan trailer?
I didn't like it. We can talk about that right now. Who seen it?
I've seen it.
I've seen it as well.
I've seen it too.
Okay. Go ahead, D2K. Set it up. You brought it up, man.
Well, I mean, I don't know too much about Wolverine's backstory, so I can't really tell what I'm seeing. I don't know if it's being done right or wrong. I was just underwhelmed by it. I mean, supposedly this is the last Wolverine movie, at least with Hugh Jackman in it.
Good. I'm tired of Hugh Jackman, man. I like Hugh Jackman, but I'm tired of playing a Wolverine.
Yeah. It looks interesting, but it looks like something I would rather watch on Netflix or something. I wouldn't want to go pay to go see it. I'm ready for them to move on and reboot Wolverine with somebody who's more fitting for the role.
Yeah,
and do it right this time. So, but it seems like after how many movies he's been in, as the character, they finally got him doing what Wolverine's supposed to do, which is being completely unrestrained, in terms of how he attacks his, victims, putting his claw. And they showed a picture of him, putting his claws through somebody's face. So, so I'm like, man, they okay, but that should have happened in the first X-Men movie in the year 2000. But
like 7 movies now, bro.
Yeah, exactly. So
I counted him, man. This is 6 or 7 that he's in so far.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe if the fellas want to kick it or whatever, we might go check it out. I mean, we've seen bad movies before, so we'll see what happens.
What you think about it, Jedi?
I didn't think it was bad. I just didn't get excited for it. It was a generic trailer, in my opinion. It didn't feel like it was really associated with the X-Men movies, like that genre. It felt like it was something completely different, which really surprised me. But the whole story, at least from my understanding of what's going on, what this movie is based on, I really wasn't excited about. Especially given Wolverine's background. You have this little girl here, and I'm talking about like Wolverine from the comics. Wolverine is a very dismissive guy, It's very rare if it's not Phoenix, like his love interest. He really doesn't care about anyone, and you don't really get that from this movie based on what Wolverine is as the comic book character. And I mean, it was generic in my opinion.
I mean, it's been a few exceptions where Wolverine's, I guess, concern for different people who have shown up, like Jubilee, but yeah, for the most part, he's a loner.
Understand, he's always been the big brother. Let's not get it twisted. He's, and in every version, he's been a big brother to one of the younger late women in the Xavier studio. It's always been that way. It's been Jubilee, like I said, it's been Rogue, it's been now whoever this is, but at some point he's always been kind of the overwatcher. Even when he was in Japan, his exploits, he always found some woman or some love interest to be the big brother over.
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point.
That's what I was saying, but like I said, it's been few and far between. It ain't a whole lot. For the most part, he's a loner most of the time, but hey, like I said, there's a few exceptions. What do you think, Jason?
Well, the first thing that I'm kind of confused about, and I know a little bit about comics. I like comics, but I don't really go full crazy on them. But the one thing I question is, at least by the trailer, it looks like that Xavier dies.
He's old. I know that.
I know he's old. But the other thing is like, if he's, has powers and slightly stuff like that, why is he getting old? Maybe that's just me. I don't know.
I didn't even come back to life in the first place.
There's a lot of well, they jacked up when they got that movie. That franchise, they messed that up. They should have never had X-Men at all because they have messed it up. To me, from the beginning, Hugh Jackman should have never been Wolverine, in my opinion. If you know anything about the character, he's only 5'2", 5'3",
5'3".
So
but you know the backstory about that, right?
No, I don't. No, I didn't care.
Well, the original actor that was cast for that role was an actor named I don't know if I'm pronouncing this, Dorgray Scott. And apparently this individual did fit the bill. He was somebody that could definitely have looked the part as Wolverine, but during either filming or casting or something, he got hurt. And
so kind of like short, stocky.
Yeah, so Hugh Jackman was his understudy, his replacement.
Okay. Well,
so that's how
like
happened.
I said, I'm kind of burnt out on. They have never done. I can't name one. I think X-Men 2 was the best one. Everything else,
X-Men 2 was clearly the best one.
Yeah,
I would definitely say 1 and 2.
I didn't like 1. 1, well, I say this. Let me explain 1, because this is why 2 I like 2, and we get off this. But one, I could not get with Magneto being the character he was. I was like, dude, how do you put what's his name? Gandalf the Grey. How is Gandalf Magneto? He didn't look formidable. He didn't look fearsome or intimidating. He was feeble. I didn't like him. Then, of course, with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, it took a long time for me to accept the fact that this dude was Wolverine. And it had nothing to do with Hugh Jackman. It was just the fact that he doesn't look like Wolverine to me at all. And I never liked Cyclops. I liked Jean. She was cool. And then I hated the storyline. I hated the storyline of the original X-Men. I liked 2. Maybe it was when I met my wife and she liked
2 was amazing.
So I liked 2 because my wife liked 2. So I like my wife. So she liked 2. So I like 2. I don't know. I guess that might have been what it is.
That intro was lit for part 2.
The best intro of a movie ever. I'm sorry.
But Nightcrawler?
Yes.
Yeah. So I like 2, hated 3. And everything else outside of the reboot was garbage.
Yeah, First Class was good.
Yeah, First Class is good. What was the one after First Class?
Days of Future Past.
Yeah, Days of Future Past was decent. This last one I didn't even bother to go see because they messed up one of my favorite characters of all time, and that is Apocalypse. When you mess up Apocalypse, I didn't even want to waste my time watching it. So, and then the X-Men spin-offs was garbage, all of them. Every last one of them was garbage. And I think this was going to be garbage, to be honest with you. So anyway.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Question about that. They're still under Fox right now, right?
Yeah, they're still Fox.
Yeah.
I'm just curious what Marvel would actually do.
I think Fox is about to run out on their.
Yeah, I think so.
Ain't they about to lose their rights to it?
Nope, that's not how it works. See, you should ask the Marvel.
You low, K-Bomb. You real low. K-Bomb, you low. You got. Give me the mic.
I hear feedback too.
Let's try this again.
Yeah, we couldn't hear nothing you were saying, bro.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I was saying, you should have been asking the guy with the Marvel symbol on his shirt. The Marvel question.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't work like that. The way the contract works is that as long as they make movies within 3 years, they can keep making movies. That's why they keep forcing out movies. The same thing with Fox. Same thing with Sony. That's why they rebooted the series, because as long as they keep making movies within like a 3-year span, they can keep the license. That's why you keep getting reboots after reboots, because they have to keep movies going. The reason why Marvel got Daredevil back and why they got Ghost Rider back is because when the last time you seen a Daredevil movie, a Ghost Rider movie? They lost the license. Same thing with Punisher. So that's how it works. And so they're gonna keep pumping out Dookie movies. Hey, just being honest, Dookie movies, because they have to keep doing that to keep the license. So that's what it is.
Okay.
Now, can I say my thoughts on this trailer?
Say it again, K-Bud. They're gonna keep what?
I said Dookie. Dookie.
That got me, man.
Oh no.
All right. So let's get into this, man. Let's start with this. We ended talking about the Switch, and we're gonna start talking about the Switch, and we'll get off into the other stuff, I guess, towards the middle to end of the podcast. But I want to go ahead and bring back up the Switch.
Yeah.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Because my wife, I'm trying to get my wife to see the light with the VR, right? The PlayStation VR. So I'm trying to get her to agree with me to let me get the PlayStation VR. So I took the wife to Best Buy to try it out, but they didn't have the PlayStation VR. They had the Oculus, right? And she ain't never tried the VR before. And so I put in the machine. I put her in this rock climbing simulation. So you're on the edge of a mountain, climbing a rock.
Oh, that game's scary.
Yeah, I've never played it. And I didn't know.
You said she don't want you to get the VR, right?
No, I'm trying to convince her that I should get the VR. And so I put in the rock climbing simulator, and it freaked my wife the crap out. that she was literally crying, like had tears coming down her face because it was so real. And so I think I did more damage than good. So so that's all I gotta say.
Oh, my bad. I was making sure the button worked. I'm dead. My bad. Go ahead. My bad.
No, I'm done. That was story. I did more damage with the VR system than good because my wife is not paranoid because she thought she fell off a cliff of a mountain. So
now, where did she try that? Was this on vacation or was this on vacation or what?
Yeah, it was on vacation. Well, we came out of St. Louis though.
So you actually I got the video. You know why I haven't put the videos that came on? Because we look stupid in the videos. I ain't putting them.
No, you look stupid, but I'm cool.
Don't make me put yours up. You look like idiots. You really don't get it just looking at us playing because we crawl on the floor looking like retards.
Again,
but the experience was real.
That needs to get up. That needs to.
No, I'm not putting it. I was about to load it last week, and I looked at it, I was like, I ain't putting this up. I ain't embarrassing myself like that. Anyway, we just talk about the experiences. You ain't gonna see me experience it. But do you like the VR on PlayStation? You actually like it?
Yeah, it's good. It's usable
compared to what we experienced.
Yeah, it's the less of the three, but it's usable.
Okay. All right, but it's doable. You saying?
Yeah.
Okay,
I had fun.
All right, well, let's get into this, man. So there's been more revelations that have come out about the Switch since the reveal last Thursday. We found out that there will be no dual screen activity going on. There will. What else did they say? I can't remember all. I know NVidia came out and did. I was watching the video where they asked NVIDIA what chip set were they using, and they did say Pascal, but they did not say like which one and how that chip is designed. To just know is of the Pascal architect. And I was gonna try to get Jedi Knight's input on that, like with us understanding that it's not the Maxwell or the what's the other one?
I think it's Kepler.
Yeah, would it not been those two, and we know that it is a Pascal style. Pascal,
brother. I'm gonna hit you.
I said correctly. That's why I got
saying it wrong. I'm over hurting.
Pascal.
I'm a computer programmer, bro. Pascal. Okay.
Archetype. Explain like what are we looking at, Jedi Knight? Like you know that real well. Take us down that road, man. Let us know what we might be getting into.
Well, it's the latest architecture, which is a good thing for Nintendo. If that's in fact the case with the Nintendo Switch, it means that you have a high probability of being able to accept the latest game engines such as Unreal Engine 4 and Unity and so forth.
Which they came out and said that Unreal 4 is going to be on it. So, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a good look. But also you have the efficiency of the chip, the wattage to power, all of that is implemented with these new type of chips that they're having. So we'll have to see. In regards to power, it's really hard to tell because anything that I've looked at with the Polaris chip or the Pascal chips have been like the standard computer GPUs. With this Tegra chips, it's hard to really tell. I know that the last Tegra chip was the first mobile chip to offer a teraflop of performance. And from what I've been seeing, the Pascal version, like the updated chips, have been the nanometers are much smaller and it's more efficient, but they've been given up to 100% more power than the previous generation. It's been a good jump. I shouldn't say 100. I would say about 80% in comparison. And, it's hard to really think that you're going to go from a teraflop of power to 1.8 teraflops. That's basically a PlayStation 4. It's possible. But I think what we've been hearing for the past months, that the Nintendo NX, which is now the Switch, would be around the same power of the Xbox One, which is, I think it's 1.4 teraflops. It could very well be possible. You know, and initially when you heard that, everybody's thinking it's a conventional console. So of course we weren't really satisfied with that. But for that to be a tablet, that's pretty beast if that's the case.
Yeah, I've been doing some research in the Maxwell, the original Tegra 1. That was the place. They say that's the placeholder chip that was in the NX when a lot of the leaks came out, and that was putting it up by the Xbox, stronger than the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, even more powerful than the Wii U, but not comparable to Xbox One, PlayStation 4 level of graphics. And they saying if it is indeed Tegra X2 or something close to that, then we are looking at having capabilities like an Xbox One or even close to a PlayStation 4 that can leave with you and go mobile or portable with you, and because it is a tablet or so that is pretty dope if that's what they did.
And at this point, I'm at this point believing the rumors, because for the most part, the majority of the rumors have come to be true. And I remember when they were saying that the Tegra X1 chip was the chip in the dev kits, but they weren't sure if those chips would be the ones used because they had to have a cooling system on the chip. So that kind of gave the indication that it's a placeholder chip. That would make sense if they're going with the Tegra 2, which would provide more performance at a lower wattage.
Right.
So what it sounds like is kind of like some of the specs, quote unquote, full specs that came out just recently too.
Yeah,
that actually kind of conflicts with the Pascal information, but I'm looking at it right now. It's kind of weird.
Well, it's a
what I see is it's a JPEG from their site talking about Tegra key feature evolution, and it's got the Tegra K1, the Tegra X1, and the Parker chip, which is the Tegra X2. The GPU has 256 CUDA cores, and the teraflops is 1.5 Tflops.
Right.
So that's a little bit more right with the Parker. So that's a little bit more powerful than the Xbox One. Still not as powerful as the PlayStation 4. This particular Parker SoC chip has 12 cores.
That's
12.
Yeah.
It's got, I'm not sure how much, but it's got LPDDR4 memory. And it's got a triple pipeline for the output of 4K at 60 frames per second. Probably not for gaming, but probably for like, which is what the rumor said, not for gaming, but for streaming.
Right.
So I'm not sure how.
You don't know what all they can do being custom.
Yeah.
Well, this is probably why with the dev kits they had to have the active cooling fans on the dev kits, if that's indeed true. What could have been happening is they could have been overclocking those Tegra X1s to kind of get an idea of the gaming performance, but with the overclocking, you had to actively cool it. So with the dev kits, they were doing that to see what type of power they can get before they actually integrated the chips. It's an opinion, but what D2K just said is pretty beast mode if that's the case. I would say my only concern is the amount of memory the system is going to have. I've heard reports that the Switch has 4 gigs of DDR4 memory.
Yeah, I heard
that's pretty light.
That's pretty light.
That's pretty light, and that's not going to be a good look in my opinion.
So have you seen these specs that's saying it has a quad-core ARM Cortex recently?
I've seen reports on over Twitter, but that it was about the ARM cores and the Denver cores. I couldn't tell you exactly what it was though.
Right, there are two sets of Denver. There's two dual core Denver cores, and then you have the 2 quad core ARM, the A57 cores. So altogether, it makes about 12 cores. And I'm not sure how they work with each other in terms of how they're how much computation is being used out of all that. Some of that might be used for the operating system, or kind of like how the Wii U had three CPUs that did different things. You had the tri-core power PC, you had the dual-core ARM processor, and you had the DSP sound module. But all the gaming function was being done by the tri-core power PC. So just because it has all that in there doesn't mean that all that is available for developers in their games.
Yeah, yeah, because I know I have seen those Samsung tablets that it has 12 cores, but it has an 8 and it has a 4.
Right.
And what it does, when there's high or something really needs a lot of processing power, it'll turn on the 8. And then when there's normal functionality, it leaves on the 4. What that does is it gives you extra battery life. So it's not, all those cores are not running at once. So it's not draining down your battery as fast, which gives you a longer life. So it could be something like that. Yes, it does have 12, but all 12 are not firing off or not available for developers. That makes very sense. And also the tablet, since that it uses some when it's docked and uses others when it's not.
And I wonder if the dock itself has some cooling
I'm pretty sure it does.
Attributes to it.
I'm pretty sure it does. And it go back to something Jedi said last podcast, and I think Rule of Two Review thought it was pretty cool how he said when you dock it, it upscales the graphic setting or the chip setting overclocks, or however y'all say that. I think y'all
when it's portable, it'll be underclocked because you gotta save that battery life. But when it's plugged in, it runs at optimal settings.
And that makes a whole lot of sense because you get. I was watching one of the NVidia talking about the chipset and that this new chip with the Pascal and all that, and how they was talking about how they got a steady flow of electricity or wattage at a steady flow, and what that actually does versus these unpredictable, shorts and breakage in that flow. And it's like when you get a steady flow, it's so much that can happen and can do for the chip when you got. So when it's on the dock, getting that steady flow of energy, it's probably going to be, like you said, either go up to its main capability, and then when you undock it, it goes to another setting where it ain't as robust, or the resolution ain't as bright and high as it could be. But when you dock it, it goes up to that 1080p 60 frame per second level. This is interesting. We don't know. We just speculating. We guesstimating a little bit, but it's all exciting, man. How do y'all feel it's going to stack up too? Because at the end of the day, while Nintendo is trying to kind of carve out its own lane, and it has in some sense, but it is still competing with both Sony and Microsoft. How do y'all feel like this is going to stack up? Like, as excited as we are, we still got to be conscious of the fact that this thing has to compete with not only the PlayStation 4 and Xbox Ones, but the PlayStation 4 Pros and the Xbox Scorpio. So, K-Bomb, you give your thoughts, and then we'll jump to Jason after that.
The thing is, Nintendo has been trying to do this for a long time now. This integration of being portable and being stationary. They've been trying to grow that niche for forever. Their success with mobile gaming or handheld gaming has propelled them to where they are now. And the fact that if they can merge the two, I know we haven't really talked about it. Talked about the DS being a thing of the past because of this, but if they can actually merge the fact that they can be portable and the fact that they can have power, and the fact that you can play the same game on a train that you can at home, I think that puts them in their own bubble. Because the thing is, Nintendo has had their most success when they don't compete. To be honest, when they haven't really competed with Microsoft and Sony and kind of said, you know what, we're going to sit over here and we're going to do our own thing and we're going to do it our way. When they've done it that way, they've completely destroyed, Nintendo, Sony and Microsoft. So this isn't anything that's weird to me, anything that that even makes me question Nintendo, it's probably something they should do. Is to play the game their way, which is this mobile console thing that no one is really doing. And also, if you look at the past, you see that this is something Nintendo has been pushing towards for, I don't know, 12 years, something like that, when they've been trying to combine the Game Boy to the previous systems. And so if they can master this, man, they can have their own little niche in their own area where they can sell and still make money and still make Nintendo games and be profitable.
I have a thought about that. I would take it a step further as saying that Nintendo's not really trying to merge the two, but they're trying to very subtly but very deliberately move away from console gaming, because their biggest success, or the successes in the past 10 to 15 years, has been in the portable sector. I mean, you look at the DS. I mean, the DS is the second best-selling console of all time, with 152 million units sold. And the 3DS isn't doing too shabby either. I mean, it's averaging like 100 to 150,000 units shipped per week. So that's where their bread and butter is. And you look at all the decisions that have been made by Nintendo over the past 5 to 6 years, it seems like they're going in that direction to basically do it in a way that it's not a shock to the industry, it's not a shock to the consumer, it's not a shock to their investors, to where they're saying, oh, you guys are you're turning your back on all your fan base. They're doing it in a way to get people comfortable with not playing games in front of a TV screen. So when they actually are just doing that, people don't even realize that they've switched around, which is why it's called the Switch.
Good points, man. Good points.
Go ahead, Jason. I don't want to.
No, you're all right. There's a lot of things that I'm thinking about this. The Switch is technically what the Wii U was supposed to be.
Yep.
Right.
At that point, it wasn't cost effective for Nintendo to make that this way. Now, this thing, if the rumors that I'm looking at, like specs and whatnot, because obviously these specs are jumping all over the place.
Yeah.
Because the one I'm looking at now is saying Maxwell. And this is saying that system is really, really weak compared to anything that's out right now. They're saying there's like storage of 32 gigabytes, which that is a mistake at this point for storing any type of games or DLC or whatnot.
What I'm going off is it was an interview done with NVIDIA. They did say it was Pascal, but they would not say which one, and they said that's up for Nintendo to share because it's their platform. But they did go as far to say it is a Pascal chipset in there. That much has been kind of authenticated a little bit. I do know that, but as far as what else go, I don't know.
Right. As for like what type of graphics, I'm myself personally am kind of leaning to an NVIDIA 1050 or 1060 because it's not as much power, and Nintendo can purchase a lot of them for very cheap.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now this other stuff, this is all rumored specs, but it's saying it has an IPS display, which I don't believe for something that small.
Yeah, I heard that as well.
Yeah, well, we won't really tap into all the room. We just some of the stuff that pertain to this conversation. But how do you feel based on what you just said? How you feel like that's going to what position is that going to place them when it comes to competing for market shares? Do they even have to compete with Microsoft and Sony now? Have they done enough to where they have totally separated themselves, or are they still in this battle, even though, you know, they are doing a completely different thing? They have switched on everybody, but they're still gaming. It's still gaming, so they still in that same field, even though they're doing something different. How do they stack up, in your opinion, to what's coming and what's already here from those two companies?
Well, there's two things. They could do well, but I do not think it's going to compete at all.
Okay.
We're going to have there's going to be good graphics and whatnot. It's going to be a little bit better than Wii U, but it's not going to be like PlayStation 4 Pro or Scorpio or PS5, which is around the corner. You know it's around the corner.
I guess what I mean is not necessarily pound for pound competing. I mean, like is this appealing enough? Is this appealing enough to cause a person to say, I'm gonna get that over that? That's what I mean. It might not, we know it ain't gonna compete pound for pound, but when we go to the store, do you feel like the Switch has enough going for it to it'll make a person say, no, I want the Switch over the PlayStation 4, over the Pro, or over the Scorpio?
Well, I was at Best Buy, and there was a guy already trying to talk to the representatives trying to pre-order. I mean,
none of them are happy orders at all.
Wow, that's Switch. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. If he's one of those, crazy Nintendo guys, like some guys on the podcast, or if he's just like a regular person,
that's what.
So I don't know what he was, but yeah, I heard that. I was quite taken back from it.
I was kind of surprised, even though it's a little far out. Is GameStop usually has pre-orders set up well beyond what it should be, and it seems like PlayStation 4, like the newer PlayStation 4 and Xbox One S, it was like instantly on pre-order. From what I paid attention to, anyway.
But isn't that Nintendo like that has to give them the clearance to do that?
I don't know. Let Jedi get in here. Go ahead, Jedi.
All right. I would say, in respects to competition, one thing that I really haven't heard anyone saying, and ever since the rumors really began to become prevalent, and then once it was actually confirmed, this is what I think. One, the price has to be a good one. And I think that the price relative to the power is going to be very important for this reason. One second. Sorry, guys. If this machine is, for example, $199, right? That would be a lovely situation. But I think that would work for Nintendo for this very reason. We have new consoles coming out, right? But these consoles are not the typical type of consoles like the next generation where you're going to get better graphics. You're going to have better textures and probably higher frame rates, but these are going to be the same games, right?
Right.
With Nintendo, now they're going to have a machine that will be on par with Xbox One. The majority of people don't have 4K televisions. And even if they had 4K televisions, what they're getting is not a better looking game based on just the artistry or just the graphical impact. From what I understand, these consoles are dealing with the resolution. So you're going to be going from 1080p to 4K, but they're going to be the same games. Now, Nintendo, to have a tablet for $199 that can play these exact same games, minus the resolution and some minor, improvements on those more expensive consoles, will absolutely destroy this market. It would destroy this market. It would be the Nintendo Wii all over again.
I can see that.
And that's what I was going with. I was about to go with exactly where you was going, Jedi. With the price. The price is going to is going to be the make or the break.
Yeah.
Hey, Level.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to finish my thought because you asked me a question and it kind of just went off. As for if they can compete, they can if they have the right games and the right cost, as what you were saying. I don't see this being under $300, to be honest.
Why is that? Like, explain why you feel that.
It's the tablet. I mean, it's possible to be like $200, but I don't see it's going to be like that because they're going to do some type of like a system, and then they're going to do a bundle of some type, either with the Pro Controller or even a game in a Pro Controller. But that may be stretching. But the thing is Nintendo's going to have a hard time trying to convince people about this because it still looks like the Wii U. Because I've watched a few videos around YouTube and like people like showed their kid this and the kid's like, so that's just like the Wii U.
I'm gonna go there too. We got to deal. We're gonna deal with the perception or the reception as well.
Okay.
But I agree. My son, when I showed it to him, because I was, that when I came home from that service I was at, my phone started lighting up like I said, like Christmas. I told him, oh man, they finna show the new Nintendo system. So he came home from school. He's like, have you seen it? I was like, yeah. He's like, well, let me see it. So I put it on, let him see it. He was like, man, that look like the Wii U. And I said, yeah and no. And he was kind of confused. But as I watched it and kept talking about it, he kind of warmed up to it. So, but his first take was he didn't like it. I to be honest with you, he did not like it. But I think that's why they had the millennial take on the message or the visual take of what you was just seeing. That's why they didn't have really that many kids in there, because it probably would just come off to them like the Wii U all over again. But to me, it comes down to pricing. If they get the right price, this will move off the shelf with ease, no struggle. Wrong price is going to be a hard sale. And they can't go no higher than $299, in my opinion, with it.
Yeah, if they get this out like for $250, with all these new consoles coming out and the graphics are close, Nintendo may be selling like free, like just past both companies. Because if they can get the games, and that's what I'm scared about, because already from today that I saw, EA is like Mass Effect, the new Mass Effect, it's not coming to Switch. That was pretty much what I read. So that's kind of scaring me, because
where that's coming, like it depends on where that's coming from and who's saying it, because you got some of these sites that just say a whole bunch of stuff for the clickbait aspect.
Definitely. The one thing though, it does scare me because the similar situations happen with the Wii U.
Yeah. Okay.
Lots of things are very eerily similar to the Wii U launch. Lots of things, not just one or two things, but I mean, the only thing that I see that's different is that they actually did a good job of conveying the message and the use of Switch this time around, versus with the Wii U, people were completely confused and all that other stuff was going on.
But one thing I can say though is this looks way better quality than the Wii U. Completely. Even the dock looks better than Wii U.
All right, so where are we at? Let's talk about the price, and then we'll move on. So I'll start with K-Bun. What price does this thing have to be for you to even consider it? As a Sony bias elitist, my bad.
Elitist.
Go ahead. But as a Sony fanboy,
Sony fan. Come on, man.
You a fan? You a male, ain't you? So you a fanboy? No different than the rest of them. Go ahead. What would they need to price this for you to like? Do you got your wife PlayStation only type of person? Come on, man.
And I got an Xbox sitting up.
Your wife don't
too, man. Come on, man. Don't do me like that.
She didn't approve of it coming to y'all house.
Kitty just
go ahead, man.
Anyway, so I think that Jedi said it. If they drop this for $199, I'll be out there day one trying to buy this bad boy. That's a drop in the hat. I'll take that. I'll sell my Xbox for that. Shoot. But realistically, if they can come in, if they come in at $299, they have a big market share. That keeps them still on par, a little bit less than the newer PlayStation that come in, I believe, $399. That keeps them right around the price of brand new PlayStation 4. That keeps them right at the same thing around the Xbox One, and they different stuff when it comes to those systems. So if they cannot go above $299 in my mind, because then you're passing up a PlayStation that people can buy and still play with all their friends, or another Xbox. Because at this point, I don't know if they're going to be bought by people are going to already have PlayStation 4s and Xbox Ones, you know. So if you come in at $499, you're the second system. Really come in as the second system, costing more than the first system. that's going to be hard for some people to bite that and go ahead and buy it, because they have to start their library from scratch. Possibly they haven't stayed there yet. If that's back with.
Oh, I got something about that too.
They might have to start their library from scratch. Especially if you did not jump on the Wii U, because is only 13 million Wii U sold. So I don't think they can afford to go $399. I think $299, $250 would be awesome. But I'm thinking more about $299.
Jedi Knight.
Yeah, the reason why I thought $199 is because they can actually hide their $250 price. For example, all of these consoles, you will buy the consoles for whatever the market price is, and then when you get it home, you got to spend $50 for online play, right? They can sell this machine for $250. Just the $50 would come for the internet portion of it. I mean, just speculating here, but
Right.
you know, they're in many ways Nintendo's behind the 8 ball, because Nintendo fans are gonna buy this console. The second thing is, a lot of the games, even if they get third-party games, a lot of people are gonna buy third-party games on the consoles that they either already have because they have their friends there and so forth. Nintendo has to find a way to get people not only to just buy this system, but to actually buy the third-party games for it.
Prefer it over the other consoles.
Exactly. Right. And one of those things will be, one, the price, and two, the ability to take it with you wherever you want to go, right? Yeah, so the convenience of that is, if you go on vacation or if you go anywhere you want to go, you can always have your console with you because it's so compact. A lot of people have been complaining, that I've been seeing online on YouTube, well, you know, the Switch is a failure because look at all of these other type of portable gaming devices. Nobody wants to really play their feature AAA development games on these systems. It's not really about that. It's about the convenience of bringing it with you. If you don't want to play it on an airplane or on a bus or a train, that's cool. But when you're going away for holiday or what have you, and you want to take your game with you, it's better to take a tablet than it is an entire console and then wait to find a particular television to hook it up to in order to play it, right? So I think that Nintendo has somewhat of an advantage here. I don't know how much the components for the system is going to be, and we all know that Nintendo typically doesn't like to take L's when it comes to the price. They like to sell it at a profit day one. Right. Maybe it could be a situation where they can just sell it at an even price instead of trying to gain profit. Nintendo's going to have to do something.
Yeah, they already said, the new president already said we're not selling it at a loss. We're gonna get what we put out there. We're gonna get our part back. So they ain't selling it at a loss. That's just not their motto. So I think they learned their lesson with that.
That says a lot.
Go ahead, D2K. What price you think it needs to be at for it to be successful?
It needs to be $199 or cheaper. It's not going to be, though.
No,
it's not going to be. No, I mean, if you really think about it, if I don't have any of these consoles at all, and I'm going to the store to buy one, I'm looking at the Switch, and I have no interest in portable gaming, but yet I look at the Switch being, let's say, $299, but I look over and I see the Xbox One S at $299, the PlayStation 4 Slim at $299. Why am I buying the Switch? Especially now that I can play Nintendo games on my tablet that I already have. That's a mistake to me with this whole portable aspect, is that I understand why they're doing it, but you're giving people an out to not buy your console. If you're going to offer, if people can scratch the Nintendo itch by playing Pokemon Go or playing Super Mario Run or playing whatever portable games they have in development in the pipelines, I'm pretty sure they do have a lot more, because there's no way in the world they're not going to jump on that. If I'm not a Nintendo fan, but I just happen to have a fondness for Mario or Nintendo IP in general because I grew up playing it, you know, I don't need to have whatever the new Mario game is going to cost. I don't need to have Breath of the Wild. I don't need to have Smash Bros. I don't need to have Splatoon. If I just got Super Mario Run, that scratches that itch. And then I don't need the Switch at that point. So it kind of is. I mean, I understand somewhat of the audience that Nintendo is going after. I mean, you saw in the trailer, it's basically millennials, like we talked about in the last podcast. But millennials are people who are dedicated to playing games in bits and pieces. You know, they're not people who either sit in front of a TV and play gaming all day, or they don't sit, you know, somewhere else and play portable gaming all day. They play for a little bit and they go do something else. They play for a little bit more and they go do something else because they got stuff to do. Right. So I'm not sure if the audience that they're going after is going to be stable. It's going to be when they release the Switch, it's going to sell like gangbusters. Everybody's going to have one. You're going to see it in all the talk shows talking about it. It's going to be all over social media. It's going to be the coolest thing ever to have this thing for the first 6 to 12 months. After that's over, you're going to be looking at several consoles that are more powerful than this thing. So they're going to have to do something in order to make the Switch look like it's not being left in the cold. And we talked before about the possibility of the tablet itself being basically upgradable to where you could just take the tablet out and they can release a new, more powerful tablet for like, say, $100 to $150, maybe, you know, at most. And you slap that in there and you got a new console just like that. You don't have to buy a new dock. You don't have to buy new controllers. You don't have to mess with anything else but the tablet. If they do it that way, that would be a huge advantage for Nintendo because they can save a lot of money in console development and put that towards more games and more software.
Jason? Jedi, you was going to say something. Hold up, Jason. What you was going to say, Jedi?
No, I'll let Jason go before I hit on that.
All right, go ahead, Jason.
I would say probably if they could put it to $250 and then show some type of really expanded, advanced online system that you don't have to pay for. Yeah. I think that could work. But it all comes down to is the perception of the device, how it looks in the past from the other systems, and the games have to be there. Now, granted, how Nintendo have moved their stuff together, they can produce a lot more games because the mobile and the console is working together pretty much. Right. And they'll make little groups to go from mobile. But I think a big thing here, and I kind of took this from the 1316 killer, and I know people don't like him sometimes, but Nintendo made a mistake of not allowing or not having the ability to play 3DS games. Like, not in 3D, but like 2D. Without having that, they're kind of splitting their market in half further than it needs to be. Because what's going to happen is they're going to eat into the 3DS sales. Because this thing is a mobile device.
I think that's the intention.
But I think so as well.
The intent is to, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think, like Jay said, I think this is Nintendo's way of slowly moving us into their strong point. I think they have, and we can talk about this, and I let Jedi Knight say what he's going to say first. But is this Nintendo basically conceding, bowing out of the home console market and kind of masking it with this ability to hook to your TV? But the truth is, we are bowing out of that, and we're going here, and we just gradually leading you down that path, because I agree wholeheartedly with that. Like, this to me looked like, as much as I liked it, it says to me, we're done with the home console beefy system race. We done with that. So we're going to take a tablet, put it in a dock, call it a home console. But the truth is, it's a portable system. And that's our strength. That's where we excel at. And we're going to make you love it. That's what I see from Nintendo.
Truth be told, they may have made that decision in mid 2000s. I mean, they probably looked at the success of the Wii, success of the DS, and said, you know what? What if we can combine these two ideas?
Right.
That's what they tried to do with the Wii U, though.
Right, but now they did it right with the Switch. And I think, and I've said on this podcast many times before in the past that the Wii U was a prototype for what they wanted to do with this system, and that's precisely what it wound up being. I didn't think that they would wind up being this way, but somebody said that you should always follow your first mind. And when I first saw the Wii U, I said, this is a prototype for what they want to do, but they can't do right now. And
well, a lot of people. Sorry.
Go ahead.
A lot of people, when they first initially saw it, is like, "Oh, this thing's going to be mobile. We're going to be able to take it with us." And then Nintendo's like, no."
Go ahead, Jedi.
Did we ever get the two
No, game
pads?
You just being funny.
No, I don't know, bro. That's why I'm asking, man. Come on.
No, we didn't get to.
I ain't trying to do that. I ain't that kind of dude.
They were testing it, and then they quietly disappeared.
That's an interesting thing, because can somebody, like, say, if we all had Switches and we're playing, does it? Is that how we just connect to each other through some kind of a online or through a cloud or I'm not sure.
It would be more like the DS and 3DS. It'll be like the local multiplayer type direct connections.
Okay.
Or Wi-Fi direct connections, depending.
Yeah, I think Wi-Fi direct connection would be smarter. A lot of devices do that now.
Well, going back to what you said, K-Bum, then Jedi jump in after this. With the whole game pads, it just the revelation is the Wii U couldn't handle two game pads, and I think Nintendo knew that. It was just it couldn't handle it. It just bottom line, it wasn't powerful enough to handle 3 different images at the same time, man. Some had to give. And I think the frame rates would have been
terrible.
Yeah, it couldn't handle it, so they never did. They said they were looking into it, and it was a possibility, but I don't think they ever had any intentions on doing that. But Jedi, you was finna say something, man. I don't want you to forget your thought.
Yeah, no problem. I'm gonna respond to Jason before I hit on D2K's initial comment. I would expect Nintendo to eat into the 3DS market share for the fact that the 3DS has been around for, by the time the Switch is released, it'll be 6 years old. Yeah. I think that Nintendo did a huge thank you by releasing a Nintendo Direct and showing that they're going to be supporting this particular console into 2017. But that was the thank you. And also how many units has the 3DS sold? Over 100 million. So that's money
60.
generated. How much?
60
million.
Yeah.
So that's 60 million people that have the potential to still buy these games. So it is going to still generate money for them. Yeah, just because the Switch comes out doesn't mean that those people who own 3DSs are not gonna, suddenly drop their 3DSs. There will be a portion that will, but there will also be people who have the Switch but will still buy 3DS games. But to D2K's point, I think I have something even better to complement your initial position with the upgrading the tablets itself. Mm-hmm. 2 things we haven't heard yet. One, Nintendo said that there was a secret with this console that they didn't want the other companies to basically steal from them. This is why they didn't present it at E3. The second thing is, throughout this entire time with the rumors, we constantly had in conversation, and mind you, this is coming from the position of the majority of these rumors being true. We have yet to hear about a computing device. Imagine, all right, I'll give you an example.
It's going right to my thoughts.
We have a PlayStation 4 and an Xbox One. You have the PlayStation 4 Pro coming out in a couple of weeks, and you have the Scorpio. Both of these consoles will be using the regular disc, but they will be up-resing and so forth, and there will be extra information on these discs that you can use for both consoles. What if the Switch can do the same thing with their cartridges? We have a computing device. If you buy this computing device, then when you hook it up to the dock, you get this extra power and whatever comes with, that particular benefit. But when you take it off and you use it as a mobile device, then you would get the standard game. So you don't have to worry about upgrading the GPU and everything else, as well as including a screen. You can keep your device, and the only thing that you have to do is sell a computing, the detachable computing device to include with the console that you already have.
Yeah, that's possible.
But the thing is, though, that there's conflicting information about the dock already having additional processing.
Well, true, but I think that there would be some sort of computing power, just from my perspective. It may not be much. Like I said, I'm still concerned with the fact that a lot of the rumors now is saying that this is only going to have 4 gigabytes. Maybe once you use it as the portable, you would only need 4 gigs because you're lowering resolution and computing power and so forth. And maybe they have some extra memory within the dock itself. But the dock can still be used as some sort of conduit to where you can attach a computing device.
Supplemental.
And yeah, what was it again? Supplemental computing device. Thank you.
Yeah.
Where you can connect the supplemental computing device and use that without having to say, in order for me to upgrade, I have to basically buy an entirely new system, which is basically what people who have PlayStation 4s and Xbox Ones are going to have to do.
Yeah, you got to go out and spend another $300 to get $400 to get that experience, you know. So yeah.
Now imagine it. If you have this console and you're spending, I would say, I'll even raise it up $50. Say if you're spending $249 for it, that beats having to spend another $400 or another $500 from speculation with the Scorpio. If you want to upgrade this, you may have to spend maybe another $200, and that's half the price. So what Nintendo could really do is they don't have to necessarily compete in that space, because truth be told, nobody did right by the 1080p 60 frames per second gaming experience. Not Sony, not Microsoft. And suddenly they're trying to graduate to 4K. What Nintendo needs to do is dominate 1080p 60 frames per second.
And it goes back to I made this a while ago that I watched Digital Foundry. They was doing they was analyzing this possibility with the NX, now known as the Switch, and they were saying how they was doing the PlayStation Pro. And they were saying how, you know, this 4K 30 frames per second is cool, but if I had my choice, I would rather have 1080p at 60 locked over the 4K 30. And to me, when I heard them say that, it made me think like there must be something about that 60 frame lock and 1080p lock that's far more enjoyable than better resolution still at 30 frames per second.
It's that hyper reality type.
It's the response time.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of it has to do with the people that a lot of people don't have 4K TVs yet, so it's a superfluous function at this point for the vast majority of people out there. And another thing that I thought about is that if the millennials that they're targeting with this console, they're already used to upgrading their things on a semi-yearly basis. They're used to buying an iPhone 4, 5, 6, 7. So if you say we have the NS 1, 2, 3, 4, it's not going to be a shock to them at all. They're used to doing that.
And I'm glad you said that, D2K, because I was saying earlier, and based off what Jason was saying as well, Nintendo is hedging their bet on the 3DS, DS handheld market that they have carved out, because it has been lucrative to them. And they have trained them to buy upgrades throughout the year. You got the 3DS, 3DX XL, 3DS Lite. You got all these different upgrades that come out every 2 years. And then you got the new 3DS. And so that market and those gamers, which are a lot of millennials, a lot of young folks who are on the go a lot, they're not the hardcore dedicated gamer like some of us are, where we want the TV, the surround sound. I work at a college. All I see is laptops and tablets and
tech
and 3DSs everywhere. You know, so Nintendo is hedging their bet. If they have the games and they give that audience the games that they want and the freedom that they want and the form factor that they want, where it looks like when you walk up on a Switch, your mind you would think tablet. You would think, oh, what new tablet you got? You think iPad. You think Galaxy, Samsung Galaxy Note and stuff like that. But when they get introduced, oh, this is something cool. This is something that I'm already used to. And then I can take this home and dock it. It can become a home. I can take what I'm used to on mobile or handheld, and I can experience that at home now. I don't have to stay in that posture of looking down at this small screen. I can put it on the big screen now. It's really, to me, it's targeting the 3DS people. Right. That 500, that 50 to 100 million year every generation subscribers who buy their hardware in the handheld division. They always guarantee 60 to 100. This is catering to them and cloaking itself as a home console for us who bought the Wii U. That's what it is, man.
Level, can I jump in real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
If the hardware is what I feel it will be, when it's connected to the dock, you'll get 1080p 60 straight, no matter what game. When you take it off the dock, it's going to drop down to 720p, maybe 30 or 60, depending on how the hardware is. And once you drop it down to 70, you'll save battery life like crazy. Now, I'm seeing like these things saying that's a 3-hour battery life, which is terrible.
Right.
So I mean, it would have to cut down. If it's not 720p, it would have to be, I don't know.
Again,
I jump in really?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm finished with y'all just saying that 3 hour has you gonna have a whole bunch of people after that, because this is how I look at when Nintendo stuff is announced. You have this whole slew of individuals that come out and try to basically tear down whatever excitement and generated they try. So let's find the negatives and just pull it out. Do we know it's 3 hours? We don't know. We don't know.
Well, anything. It was kind of interesting that they were not pushing the whole. Jason. They were not pushing the whole home console aspect as hard, especially right after the commercial. I mean, the commercial was basically pushing the mobile aspect of it hard. Right. But when the rumor came out about the 3 hour thing, then all of a sudden you hear a lot of press releases from Nintendo saying, "Oh, it's a home console first and foremost." Yeah, so people understand that. Well, just in case this is true, then you understand that you can't do that much with it away from the console, away from the TV, which doesn't make any damn sense. What is the point of the portable if that's true? I pray to God that's not true. Please don't let that be true.
And Level, I have a lot to say.
About the time frame, the battery life of being only 3 hours.
Yeah.
Being mobile. When
it's in mobile or handheld mode, they're saying that it's only got 3 hours of battery life, which that's been sung across a lot of different individuals. So Jason hit us. I'm just hoping. I'm like D2K. I'm just hoping that's just people trying to throw some salt because it wouldn't make any sense.
And I hate keep jumping in because I know you guys do the podcast. I kind of do my blog and I kind of disappear and then I come back. So if I'm trying to take over, I'm sorry.
No.
I do have a lot to say about this.
No, that's how we get down. Go ahead, do your thing.
Especially the things that you start looking at Sony and Microsoft, because there's an issue here that people are not seeing yet. 4K televisions right now, well, there's a few that support it, but 4K TVs are up to 30 frames. So if Xbox Scorpio and PS4 Pro only get to 30 frames, if that, because obviously it's upscaling, there are 4K 60 frame TVs that are going to come out after that. So what's going to happen is Sony and Microsoft have to release another mid-term console upgrade.
That's probably when they're going to release the actual next generation
like PS5
consoles, which is going to be a money grab for them. But in reality, if that's the case, in many ways, they're cheating the consumer, right? Yeah. Well, I shouldn't say that because you know what? I hate when consumers say, that a company took something away from them. We're pretty knowledgeable gamers here, so I think there is a level of responsibility when it comes to the consumer. And if they see that something is really not worth,
we'll see it.
Then they should understand that. But to a couple of points before I forget, I wanted to get on the battery life as well as the 60 frames per second 1080p. One on the battery life. If this battery life is 3 to 4 hours, I don't think that's much of a problem if you're playing AAA titles. With many other tablets, you're playing mobile games, right?
Right.
And they're really not going to be sucking up a lot of energy like that. Yeah, what I do think is a benefit for Nintendo. I think it was D2K that said it earlier. Well, you have a lot of, iPads and different phones that every year you do an upgrade. I think that this is a benefit for Nintendo because in many aspects they can be looked at as like a tablet. So once they present upgrades, they're gonna kind of be in that market. When it comes to consoles, gamers don't like that. They don't want to buy a console and then feel like in a year or two they have to do the quote unquote upgrade. Granted, these people go out and buy it, but they complain about it all the time. People who have an iPad or the new phones, they're going to get the S version 6 months later, and then they're going to get the new generation 6 months later after that. So I think that Nintendo could possibly position themselves properly to where they don't get backlash. The second thing that I want to get on is the 1080p 60 frames a second, which I think is also something that is very smart by Nintendo. First and foremost, Nintendo is a first-party developing company, right? That 1080p 60 frames per second will be true because they're going to be making games that will be 1080p 60 frames a second. There will be a lot of third-party developers that will make games for this console that will not meet those standards.
Right.
But because Nintendo makes their games and they make a plethora of games, they're able to say that and advertise it as such, and it is true.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny though, because it's like there are games on the Wii U that were hitting 1080p 60.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Nintendo has always had solid frame rates in their games going all the way back to the N64.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, you quiet over here, man. What you got to say on all this?
Well, I was letting you guys talk. I mean, I don't want to take up all the oxygen in the room here. But when it comes to the battery life, and I was talking about earlier, I have the Surface Book, which is different than the Surface Pro. The reason why it's different because with the Surface Pro, it has it's a tablet, but it has a dockable station, a dockable keyboard, and within that keyboard is a battery. So there's a battery in both the tablet and in the actual keyboard. And the way Microsoft did that is that they split up the battery life. So there's 75% of the battery in the docking station, 25% of the battery in the actual tablet. And they kind of doing the same thing where they're marking this as a laptop first. Because if you look at the other Surface, the regular Surface, they're marketed as tablets that can perform as laptops. But the Surface Book is being marketed as first a laptop that is secondly a tablet, because there's only about 3 hours of life while that book is in tablet form. If that's the case for Nintendo, I don't see that being a problem because this still is a home. Well, I think is a home console first, and it should be viewed as that with the possibility and the ability to be mobile. How many times have we wished that we can carry around our Xboxes and our PS4s and even at that time the Wii U that we can carry it around and make it mobile, even if it's only without being charged 3 hours of battery life. And that's still a far cry better than what we've had beforehand when you see people going out the full extent and completely modding an Xbox or Sony to do the same thing. So I don't think it hurts them that much that the battery life may be that short. Because again, we're talking to rumors. Because as long as they say first, this is a home console with the cool ability to be portable. And if they can have if they had some kind of battery, the battery could also be placed inside the system itself so that you could charge it while it's in tablet form and still be charged. If they can do that as well, then you're getting the best of both worlds, and you can still play it off a charge while it's being charged while it's in its tablet mode. That would be the best thing for them.
I agree and disagree with that. I agree that that's precisely how Nintendo needs to market this console. That is the narrative. That is exactly the narrative that they must use in order for this to be successful. But I think in reality, it's the opposite of that. I mean, you're using a mobile processor. It's a mobile-based console, and it's designed to do mobile things that can work on a television set. And another thing is that you have a lot of pieces to this thing. You have the tablet, you have the dock, you have the two Joy-Con controllers, you have the thing in the middle that they slap onto. All those things have batteries, except for the dock. What happens if one of the batteries in the Joy-Con goes dead?
That would be a funny situation.
Or what if but just say if it was just a defective, print of that particular battery or something like that. So how much are the Joy-Con replacement parts going to be? Because people are going to lose them. People are going to step on them. Dog's going to chew it up, sit on it, lose it. Fell into a drink, fell into my soup. It's those little. I mean, it's just a lot of moving pieces here.
My toilet.
In the toilet, well, I don't know why. Well, now, yeah, that is a realistic scenario because you can take it into the bathroom. If you don't want to stop playing, you got to do some business. You take it to the bathroom with you, and whoops,
take that dump.
So I'm wondering how much are these pieces going to cost, and we talked about in the last podcast. How cool it would be if they had customizable Joy-Cons to where you pretty much can build the controller that you want. If you want to be
Smash Brothers and whatnot.
Exactly. If you want to be for Smash Brothers, you can put an attachment on the right side that looks like a GameCube controller. Or if you want a straight up fighting type thing, you can have almost like an arcade stick type situation. You can pretty much, and that kind of goes back into the whole patent that Nintendo filed with the customizable buttons. Maybe that particular way that they had it in the patent doesn't work, but maybe using just different Joy-Cons is the realization of that.
And actually, to add to that, I think the benefits outweighs the potential issues. I think it's a valid question to ask. Well, there's a lot of moving pieces here. What happens if one of the device, one half of the controller is defective? What if you break one or what have you? But on the flip side of that, to be able to change and have customizable attachable custom configured button layouts is awesome. This is something that has never been done before, at least from my understanding. I've never seen it before, and I'm more than willing to take a chance on that when I know the majority of the time I'm going to be playing on the Pro version controller anyway, and those removable controllers will just stay on the tablet permanently.
But that's interesting though, because Nintendo has been looking at the mobile market, and that Android and iOS have those joystick adapters, and they were sitting there thinking we can do that, but we can do it a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
It's in respects to immersion through the controllers, it is almost limitless what Nintendo is doing. And this is one of the reasons why I'm such a fan, because they're really unorthodox, but they're innovative, man. And they understand that it's not always about the graphics. And granted, sometimes we do miss the graphics because not having those graphics means that a lot of third parties they're not really going to entertain this particular system.
So what do you guys, sorry.
No. What was the question?
What do you guys think about the speculatory rumors that the Joy-Cons are actually motion, like the Wiimotes?
I hope so, because that's the way I love to play Call of Duty.
I would think so, because it wouldn't make any sense to take them off if they weren't. I don't see how that helps you holding them in your hands like that if it didn't have some motion control aspect to it. You couldn't. The guy that took them off when he was on the plane, he moved his hands a little bit, but it was nothing really to tip off whether or not they have motion control. And I don't think that they really wanted to show that in the video because they didn't want people to think Wii or think Wii U. So yeah, I think once they do the full review and they break it down to molecules, we'll know for certain whether or not that's functionality is built in there, whether or not it's going to be touchscreen, or whether or not there's an SCD coming and all that type of stuff.
And it will explain why Link's sword is in his right hand instead of his left. Because the only other time that was like that was with Skyward Sword. But
I didn't notice that.
I think it is.
I never noticed that.
Yeah, Link, like one of the controversies with the new Link was everybody was wondering why it was, if it's not motion control, why is Link's sword in his right hand when it's traditionally in his left? Only other time that it was in his right hand was because most gamers are right-handed, so they had Link in Skyward Sword with his sword in his right, and his left hand was a shield. Well, if this new Link has the same setup, but if the Wii U version doesn't have motion control, or they're not sharing that it would have motion controls, there's a possibility that they saving that for a grandiose, a new aspect to the new Zelda that they didn't share at E3.
But then again, Anuma said that there would not be any differentiation between the Wii U version and the NS version, other than the graphics being somewhat better.
I have something to say on that.
Well, go ahead.
Maybe it was just the video quality of what I saw of the reveal trailer. The Zelda game, or at least from what I saw, and it could be just, how like YouTube shrinks quality down, but it didn't look as sharp, and the colors were just, I don't know how to describe it. The colors were there, but they were kind of like muddle, like not full sharp, like we saw, like when I forget his name, when he snapped his fingers and showed that was completely sharp. What was on that trailer was not even close to that.
Yeah, I would assume that, but it certainly looked better than the footage of the Wii U version of the game during E3. So, I think someone here said it before. It was probably K-Bomb or D2K who thought that we were looking at the NX version of the game with that initial trailer with the Guardian. Then that's what that game looked like. Granted, I understand what you're saying, Jason. But I think it was closer to that trailer than what the Wii U was to the Switch trailer.
Because the Wii U one was
does look different.
Yeah,
the Wii U was washed out. I remember those videos.
Well, go ahead. Bring up the questions you had about the Mario Switch. You wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, I've been kind of secretly just throwing stuff out, but first of all, I watched a video from a YouTube channel called Contra Network. I don't know if you guys know about them or not. They actually were the only ones that I saw that slowed the trailer down to where you can actually see what is going on in the background and whatnot. And Game Explain did it as well.
Yeah,
definitely a lot more detail. But the thing that I noticed, at least when that first part, when Mario is running and doing the jump, the buildings and the characters reminded me of another game. It reminded me of the game called Samba de Amigo.
I said that. I brought that up.
But it's like in the background, you can see cactus people with sombreros and they're dancing around. If you go back to the footage for like the old Dreamcast or even the Wii one, you could see kind of the same characters. So I'm saying maybe, and this is on the crazy side of thinking about it, that there's a lot of mixture of Sega and Nintendo in this game. Because going to the rings as well.
I'm looking at the monkey guy, and that's precisely what was in the trailer. I'm looking at the actual the game case of the Dreamcast Samba de Amigo. That's the same. That's him.
Yeah, and the other interesting part is when they get to further on where he's like running by Bullet Bill, you can see that is in a temple of some type. And I believe Samba de Amigo is what, South American? Or around there, or Mexico, or whatnot. So I mean that fits a little more. And the other thing that
go ahead.
The other thing I noticed from watching both Contra Network and Game Explain, Game Explain explained it. There in the second part of the video, there is a heart that is floating.
Yeah.
In the level. Well, basically that is from Super Mario Brothers 2. So they're actually seeming like they're combining the Mario games to a point.
Well, I'm gonna bring up the rings. I said that look like Sega like Sonic rings. Well, there was a lot of folks who kind of chimed in and said, well, those rings were also in 3D World and
right, but was it like more than one? Because the things that I've seen with the gold rings, there were one gold ring.
Right.
I watched a video of 3D World where it was like 2 in a row, but
okay, that makes sense. But like I said,
So
I have two ideas on I mean the crazy idea and then like the normal sane idea. But also, if you watch the second part of that video, behind the rings there is a red object with like 3 or 4 coins. I forget how many coins in the background. That object looks like a Sonic bumper.
Yeah, it did. And I was gonna bring that up too, but I was.
And if you get down to it, you kind of see a yellow ring around it, which looks like the bumpers. But like I said, that's the crazy side. But the normal Mario side is they might be adding different elements to the gameplay besides the rings being coins and whatnot. It might be Mario just like doing like a little kid thing back in the day, these swings. You go from one circle to another circle to another circle. It might be a new gameplay element.
Yeah.
If that made sense.
I'm with you. There's a lot of nuance in that video that I don't think people were paying enough attention to. And I know the rings, now that I know that the rings are in other Mario games, it still stood out to me. And other, like the Mexican take and the dude with the sombrero made me think of a Sega game. I didn't know the name of it. I just know Sega has a game, and they look just like that. And then the temple with all the Mayan, like if you look, and I see the game explain when they slowed it down, there's a Mayan. When you look up, when he's running past Bullet Bill, and you look to the side, there's Mayan drawings in the hieroglyphs, and it's, in the side of the temple. And it was like, I ain't saying Mario doesn't have stuff like that,
right?
But it was kind of different. It stood out to me, and it seemed like some Sonic would have in it. But I was like, okay, maybe I'm reaching.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I could be reaching too, but I just threw that out there. And obviously, you watch those videos. There's ice involved, at least in that level. To what extent, I don't know. But there is ice around the fountain and around the buildings and whatnot, as well as on the side in the second portion. The interesting thing, though, that I'm curious about is the purple triangles.
I think it's currency. Like I said, I think you're going to be buying stuff in this game. You're not just going to be jumping and hitting things and running. And I think they're going to change to where Mario literally got to go into stores, buy power-ups, buy different abilities. That's what I believe.
I agree with that because in Game Explain in the video, there's like a cap store, like a hat store.
Yeah.
That would make more sense.
Right. Let's do this. Let's move away from the Switch. Let's try to. We got about 20 more minutes. We had to wrap this up. Let's speculate on this AMD win. Like, this thing is still out here, and AMD did say they had a third win. We all speculated that it was going to be Nintendo's new console, but we find out that that's indeed NVIDIA. So D2K, like me and you was talking last podcast, and before we started, and we got to speculating on, okay, if it's not Nintendo, we don't believe it's Sega, you know what I'm saying? And we don't surmise it's a fourth party trying to jump into gaming. Could this thing be Sony's handheld division coming back with a new handheld?
Well, I don't know for certain. There was something that was peculiar that I heard over the weekend. Apparently, some people right after I think it was on the same day. It was on Thursday. The AMD had a conference call, and someone asked the CEO of AMD, Lisa Su, a direct question about Nintendo Switch, and her response was that the video game industry is doing very well. This is paraphrasing. Is doing very well. We're looking to put our efforts towards high performance gaming consoles, What Nintendo is doing, what Nintendo Switch is more for a mobile audience and mobile gaming. So she basically explained why AMD has nothing to do with Nintendo Switch. But at the same time, you wonder if they feel like their money should be spent towards high performance gaming consoles. Is this it could be another console somewhere out there that we don't know about. Now, I don't know what type of mobile console that Sony would be doing, because the NVIDIA was pretty powerful for its, for what it was. And if they're not going to support it just like they did the Vita, then why even waste your time making another portable, device? So it may not be from Sony. It could be portable for Microsoft.
Yeah.
Or it could be somebody else that just wants to do a portable console, and they just want to get in the portable gaming market themselves, and that's it. They want to have a dedicated portable gaming console. Or there could be another console out there, but the last design win was for an ARM processor. So that to me says it has to be something that's portable.
I have theories on this as well.
Oh, go ahead.
It may not even be a game console. I know they specifically said that, but it doesn't necessarily mean it will be. Because I heard rumblings that Apple is trying to use like an all-in-one processor for processing and graphics in like one of their like all-in-one computers. I heard that from a couple people on YouTube. It's interesting thoughts on that.
Well, there was rumors about this particular design win being for the new iMacs that are coming out next year.
Right.
The only thing that I would say against that is that Apple hasn't used risk-based architecture since 2006.
Yeah,
it's been x86 since then, so I don't see why they would go back to that with an ARM processor when x86 has been working so much better for them. So I mean, it's possible. It's possible.
And the other thing too is randomly Amazon.
Yeah, because they did buy a Double Helix, and they're doing stuff with them. I mean, that's kind of a long shot.
Yeah.
But you can't rule them out either.
You can't rule anything out now.
All right. Anybody else got anything to say on this, Jedi or K-Bon?
This is my first time really hearing this, and the first thing that came to mind was the Dreamcast 2. But then you said level that it's probably not Sega, so you kind of burst my bubble with that. I have no idea. The second company that came after Sega was Apple, which is what Jason just said. And I don't know how that would actually work. We have a lot of gaming avenues here. You have the home console / mobile aspect, which is Nintendo. You have 2 home consoles with Sony and Microsoft. You have PC gaming that is like legit now. It's not like one of those side gaming things where people have to understand drivers and be a super techie to build a computer. I mean, we have 10-year-olds that know how to work Steam now. So I mean, I don't know. They would have to really bring something to the table here.
And outside of Microsoft, there's really no other 2 companies that could do it besides Apple, or maybe there is. I don't know.
Jason, you said Microsoft, and that may be a possibility. Microsoft they just created their first personal computer, like from Microsoft. It's not like a regular PC, generic PC. It's a Microsoft PC. And my thing is, why even do it? But then again, this is Microsoft, right? Maybe they have some sort of other aspect to it. I don't know. That
crazy.
What was that?
I was saying it's crazy. Like, it's so much stuff to still be revealed to us that we don't have a clue on. It's like, this is pretty crazy.
And it could be completely random from some random company that we don't even think about. It could be in a Samsung TV. It could be in an LG TV. It could be anything.
Yeah, it won't be an NVidia, given that they just partnered with Nintendo, so we know that much. Maybe
And
AMD wants to do their own thing. Who?
that's
I don't know.
possible.
Right.
Unless they want to do like an NVIDIA Shield type thing, their own thing. But other, yeah, go ahead.
You just shooting in the breeze now. Let's get K-Bum thoughts on this, and then we'll move on to this Red Dead Redemption and then get on out of here. K-Bum, you still there? You alive, bro?
That's that big old mute button over in the left hand corner that I forgot to press. That's all that is. I'm cool. I don't have any thoughts about it. You know, I was gonna just say the fact I think, you know, the PSP Sony has been quiet about that. I don't think they said a word about it during E3. Really, and I don't think they said anything about it at their last little press conference they had. So I mean, I don't know if they're trying to completely bow out of the mobile gaming because they haven't really gave it the full out support. But I don't know. I don't know if it makes sense to be Sony because they haven't really shown the support for mobile gaming as they should to be introducing a brand new mobile gaming device, especially.
It seems like Sony just doesn't know what to do with the mobile space because they're faltering around with mobile and their mobile phones that are game phones, or they have been. It's like they don't know, so they're just kind of focusing on home equipment.
Yeah, and to add to that, I think they're in between with not knowing what to do. For example, they present a powerful mobile device and then try to give you the impression that they're going to give you AAA titles, such as giving you an Uncharted, but it's really not Uncharted. It's the Uncharted Portable Edition.
Or it's that one game that came out first on the PS4. What was it?
I'm not sure.
The little robot.
Knack,
yeah. That type of games is what they were trying to focus on, and it just kind of.
Yeah, and that's really not going to work. It hasn't worked. You know, with Nintendo, they develop games geared for that. They just don't give you like the AAA title and make a mobile version of it. You know, people who want to play Killzone don't want to really play Killzone Mercenary. They want to play Killzone 3 or the latest version of Killzone, for example. Which is why I bring that up, is another reason why I think that people who compare something like the PS Vita to the Nintendo Switch, why there is a difference there. You know, you're not going to be getting mobile versions of home console games. You're going to get home console games, at least from, you know, what is being expressed to us at the moment.
And that's something Nintendo can hit on. Because no one's doing it. Sorry.
And you know, Sony has been they have been traditionally the company that builds technology first, and then they figure out what they're going to do with it later. Whereas Nintendo comes up with an idea, and then they build the technology around that idea, and they already have the games in place that will show off what that technology can do.
Yeah, the first time they didn't do that was actually really the Wii U. Was the first time they really didn't have anything really ready to explore the idea that they had for the Wii U. That's kind of what hurt it.
The Wii U came out way too early. To my view.
Yeah, it came out. They
really should have just bagged the whole tablet idea and just made a powerful console and waited until this generation to do what they're doing with the Switch.
Yeah, they could have actually made money.
Yeah.
Further.
Yep.
So, all right. So let's do this, man. I haven't seen the Red Dead Redemption 2 trailer. Has any of you guys seen it?
You need to see it.
I saw bits and pieces of it. I haven't never played Red Dead Redemption, so this I'm interested. I was interested then, but I just missed it. I don't know how I missed it, but I missed it. And I even thought about going and trying to find it on the Xbox, because I think it is in their where you can backwards compatible.
Yeah, they just added it.
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing that. But go ahead.
If you've seen a GTA 5 trailer, you pretty much saw Red Dead Redemption, but without like cars and whatnot.
Okay. So my question is, man, like, and I'll start with Jedi, because he said I need to see it. What was your take on it, bro? I seen like a few pictures of it, but not the full trailer.
The trailer reminds me of a movie. it's epic.
Yep.
You know, I like Red Dead Redemption. I played it on the 360. I'm not a huge fan of Grand Theft Auto. My last time really getting heavily into GTA was GTA 3 on the PlayStation 2. But this game is epic. I'm excited for Red Dead Redemption 2. I think that game is going to be solid. But the trailer, it is right. You need to check it out.
I'm gonna check it out as soon as I get off this with you guys. All right, D2K.
I didn't see the trailer. I saw like somebody talking about it, but I didn't actually click on the trailer to watch it. I never played the first one, so I don't really know too much about it. So, I mean, a lot of people are squawking about it, so it must be something that's pretty good. So,
Okay, yeah, you saying both I am in. I know of it, and it looks. I know what I've seen of the first one, that it looks very interesting. It's like it got a good storyline, a lot of character development, a lot to be explored, but I just never got around to actually playing it. And but I don't want to miss this one. I want to try it out. K-Bomb.
Yeah. So I've seen the trailer. I've seen the trailer, man, and then it looks good. I mean, I've played the first Red Dead Redemption, you know, and it deserved its praises. I mean, it did some things that it's made by the same people who do GTA and stuff like that, but did some things that GTA only wish it could do.
Exactly.
And it did it amazingly well. There were some pieces that it didn't do, but the living world thing, and at the time that it did the living world, it wasn't really being done on the home consoles. The fact that you can roll into the city and you had people buying things at the store, you had prostitutes that you can buy, and you had a saloon that was working. You can rob train, you can be the bad guy, you can ride into town and massacre the whole city, and then you have the marshals that would chase you down. And they also had a multiplayer aspect that wasn't really done until fully later on, where you could be in the same kind of world. Everyone's doing that now, where you're in a world together with other people, and that if you're shooting other people in this world, there's a warrant for your arrest will come out. You know, this stuff sounds normal now, but understand when Red Dead did it, they were the first. You know, they were the first to introduce a lot of this stuff.
So that means if you killing somebody, what's that?
Yeah, somebody got to mute.
Where's that come from?
Sorry. That's me.
But go ahead.
But anyway, so what you saying, K-Bomb, is like if on your online game, if you killing people and doing certain things, the warrant for you would show up in other folks' games?
In a shared, there was a shared world that you were in. So and you were doing something you weren't supposed to. It will pop up, and people could you can play it offline and be perfectly fine, or you can be a part of this shared world where you can actually go around and find friends and do stuff like kill bears, or take down a fort, or do kind of like what GTA 5 Online is doing now. They were already doing that. It was well ahead of its time.
Okay.
It was well ahead of its time.
All right. Okay. Anything else, Jason?
If it comes out the way it looks in the trailer on the actual game, it's going to be crazy. And because it's coming out now, it's going to be well bigger than GTA 5. Which will be crazy.
When is it coming out? When does it come out?
Comes out, I think is it holiday 2017? Or
I think
I
think it said fall, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
So
I'm gonna go upstairs and check out the trailer, man, and I have me some feedback for it. Anybody going to see Doctor Strange?
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Forgot all about that. Yeah,
I know, but
definitely going to see that.
We ain't gonna mess with that right now. We talking about that Thursday.
Thursday. I got so many things that I know what's about to go on. That movie.
So we done with this. We done with the. We untalked ourselves out of Nintendo Switch. No more Nintendo Switch talk at this level for a while, man. Unless something revelation come out that deserves discussion. But I think we just exhausted Switch talk for a while. What you think?
No, we didn't. There might be pricing and whatnot after next week.
Oh, that's right. The investors meeting is this week, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we can be over with the Switch.
Okay, so what we gonna do, man? We gonna go ahead and sign out because my wife upstairs cooking some goodies and I can smell it, and I'm hungry. I'm ready to eat. So I'm gonna get on out this podcast. But anyway, we finna sign out. We're gonna start out with our guest, Jason. Go ahead and sign out, bro.
Just thank you guys for allowing me to come on. I've watched or listened to a few of them from you guys. I've obviously watched Levels videos for a while. But yeah, thanks for having me on and allowing me to speak on stuff.
We enjoyed you, man. I know you probably was a little nervous being around this bunch, but hopefully you warm up and you be even more. You got comfortable towards the end. I was like, he comfortable now. But anyway, let's move on. D2K.
This is D2K signing off to the next time. Thank you guys for dropping down. Thank you guys for being very vocal into the chat today.
I haven't seen none of it. I haven't seen anything.
It's very interesting conversation there, but we always appreciate your participation in the show. You guys are part of the show too. Thank you.
What's some of the stuff they were saying, man? I never got around to listening to it.
Well, we had somebody that called D2K out. Out. So he denial.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we ain't gonna worry about that. People always trying to call folks. K-Bomb 20.
For sure. K-Bomb 20 again, man. Again, I enjoyed myself. It's good having a new face on the podcast. I enjoy you, Jason. Thanks. You for your input. It's greatly appreciated, brother. And until next time, guys, enjoy gaming.
And last, I'm last, but my boy Jedi. Go ahead, man. I was going to say last, but I'm last.
J-E-T-S, yes.
Oh, how you had to remind me like that? I was good for the entire podcast. Now I feel like crap again.
No shade at the end.
Yes, sir.
But y'all won, though, man. Y'all swinged it out, Jedi.
Dude, man, look, they won the game, and I am still upset.
So what y'all were 2-4 now?
We're 2-5 now.
2-5. Okay.
Yes, and thank you to Baltimore for not trying to win that game, because that's what really happened. But either way, till next week, guys. This is Jedi Knight. Jason, it was a pleasure having you here. The guys over at YouTube that was writing into the comment section, I kind of got there about 20 minutes before the podcast ended. I realized that we should, participate while we're in the podcast, and maybe we can start taking some questions from there. Maybe that's something that we can also do.
That's what my aim is, man, to do some questioning. Once we get to where me and John trying to get this to, we gonna be on iTunes, man. That's our plan. So. Just stick with us, man. We working some things out behind the scenes to where we can have a full-fledged. You can download the podcast. You don't even have to come here to YouTube to listen to it. You can go straight over to iTunes or whatever, Google Play or whatever you got, and download the podcast and listen to all of us there. It's going to be edited professionally with all different segments. That's in the works. It might not happen.
Famous.
Yeah, we try to do it right, man. So just give us a few more months to get everything ironed out, the right program and everything, and we'll be there, bro. So that's the plan, man. So have listener mail and all that, man. They can call in, leave us messages, and we can play it right there on the show and answer.
Yeah, all man. Type of stuff. Y'all can be like some hipsters and be like, man, I was there before they was famous.
So anyway, but yeah, Jedi, we always enjoy you. And Jason, we enjoyed you as well, man. All you guys love being on here. Shaw couldn't make it work, so he'll be on Thursday if we get up. I'm pretty sure we will do it Thursday. We probably won't do it next Sunday if that's cool, Jedi. We probably won't do next Sunday. All
right, yeah, no problem. Whenever you guys can. I can't guarantee this Thursday.
No, I ain't expect you to be on
Yeah.
that this Thursday, so don't worry about it. I just said I know you do typically do Sunday, and I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this. I think I got something coming up this coming Sunday. If not, we'll be on. But I know
All
for
right,
sure.
sounds good.
And
I'll
I can
most
do.
likely be
I
around
can
after
only
another Jets loss.
Go
if
ahead.
I ever if
What's that?
I ever come back on here, which would be cool. I can probably only do Sundays. So
Okay. All right, cool. Well, this is your boy Levelhead about to sign out. This has been the Live and Level Gamers podcast. Till next time, folks, you know how we do. Hey, deuces.
Blam.